Hey there folks, Santee at the Arizona Ghost Riders here. Dirty Dan stew. Sounds like I'm turning him into a stew. That's weird.
Oh, no, you didn't.
How about a stew recipe by Dirty Dan? It's better, much better. Less cannibal, you know.
Got a mixed bag, Miss Yule, an owl and a possum.
Put them in the pot. We'll have wilderness stew.
A couple of years ago, I made a Native American dish. It falls into the category of a stew. Since then, I noticed when I watch classic and modern westerns, I see they eat a lot of stews. Chili also falls into this category, and with the weather getting cooler, Americans generally gravitate to these warm comfort foods. I might do a chili video in the future.
It's a recipe passed down for generations. It's probably the thing I do best.
First of all, these stews are usually pretty nutritious, vegetables and proteins. The broths can be thick or thin, and the seasonings vary. A few years back, Dirty Dan and I spent the weekend at a film festival. He cooked a beef stew that I ended up loving. I couldn't stop eating it. He humorously called it crack for cowboys, and I can see why.
It's meat and potatoes, good lean beef in a gravy rich beyond belief.
The difference between this and a traditional beef stew is the lack of Worcestershire sauce.
How do you say that, Shan?
Wash your sister sauce.
Yeah.
It's a tomato-based version. Although that's not what I grew up on, this instantly changed my outlook on this popular dish.
Real good stew. The stew. It's good.
Oh.
This one is also known as cowboy stew, but I think Dirty Dan stew seems more appropriate. And it's my channel and I can name it whatever I want, so there.
But hey, it's your party. You can cry if you want to.
Alright, throw on your aprons, you rapscallions, and let's do this. We're gonna go slow cooker on this, but if you want to be more historically accurate, use a Dutch oven. Go crazy and do the wood-burning stove and have your 11-year-old son go out and butcher a steer.
Bottoms up.
Me? I'm going to Walmart. I'll put the measurements and ingredients in the description field down below. Dirty Dan kind of just makes it up depending on his mood and what he's got in the pantry, and that's the fun part about making stews. First, put some diced onion and garlic in a separate pan and get it all cooked down a bit. Then add the meat to brown. You can use stew meat or ground. To me, the stew meat offers a better texture. Then add a can of tomato paste and a can of stewed or diced tomatoes. Throw in veggies of choice. I recommend potatoes, green beans, corn, and peas, since those were readily available in cans or fresh from the Frontier Mercantile. Add salt and pepper. Don't need to go crazy with seasonings. Many recipes you see back then were pretty simple compared to today. I've been known to throw in a small handful of chipotle pepper for a kick. Add a can of beef broth, give it a good stir, then set it on low for about 5 to 6 hours. Now, the hard part is waiting. Stews in the period were filling meals that made so much sense. They are also a good way to use up leftovers that are on the way to going bad. This also makes them economical. Many recipes don't use additional broth, just water and the flavors provided from the other ingredients. In some Eastern European cultures, these would cook on the stove for hours, turning it into a mush with dull colors. Yeah, that may not sound very appetizing, but it's pretty darn tasty.
No stew for callers?
Not if you want seconds.
Howdy, could I have some stew?
Come in.
After a day out in the cold, you'll want something to stick to your ribs, and this is that meal. I spoke to some modern cowboys who regularly cook a version of this stew, and it comes with a grin as they recall the flavors. Some even put in beans. A chunk of cornbread on the side is a good compliment, too. Dan dumped it into a big thermos and brought a couple of mugs and spoons, and we were set for the day. It's fair to say we emptied that thermos. Well, folks, that's it for another episode. Thanks for watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on down the trail.
When they hear the bells gun, because the western folks all know he's a highfalutin, shooting son of a gun from Arizona. Ragtime cowboy, talk about your cowboy, ragtime cowboy Joe.
You cutie. You cutie. You cutie. We got right to pick a little fight.